I was raised in the Mormon church, going to LDS, Latter day Saint, Mormon, whatever you may call it. And I grew up in mostly Utah. I was born in Ohio, lived in Minnesota for a bit, and then I grew up mostly in Utah, around the great, not too far away from big old Salt Lake City, a little bit south, sometime in doesn't matter. Anyway, and as I grew up, I learned a lot of things, certain ways of thinking that were common with the Mormon religion. And some of those things are good, other things I don't agree with. But when you're a kid, you just take things in and you don't really know what to question yet. You just roll with it. It's customary for a Mormon missionary to serve a 2 year, a male, to serve a 2 year mission where they go to some place that they're assigned, they don't choose, for 24 months and to teach people about Jesus with the goal of converting them to the gospel or converting them to the church. So I did that and I went to Texas, San Antonio and Austin, and some small towns on the border where I spoke Spanish. And for 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, I taught as many people as I could about Jesus and tried to bring them into the church. Then I came back and I started school and I started life. And I started to realize a lot of the methods that I had for thinking were not in line with who I wanted to be. That a lot of the things I had taught and believed or thought were true, I didn't follow anymore. And that's nothing bad about people in the Mormon church or anything else. It's simply my experience where I was at the time. So, what did I do? I went through the process of trying to unwind and understand the reasons behind all of my beliefs and decide, do I really believe this or do I want to change it? And that's a really painful process. And I certainly recognize this in religion, but it happens in every part of our life. We might have ideas about this is what it means to be a good salesman. And then you see somebody else who sells in a totally different way but still gets great results, and it breaks your beliefs down. I thought that I was supposed to sell by saying these 5 words, but they're saying these 5 words completely differently, with different tone, saying different words, and framing them differently, and they're getting more success than I am. This breaks the belief I had. I think I need to change it. And I've gone through this personal discovery for a long, long time. This personal discovery of going, what do I actually believe in? What is real to me? What matters most? And it's really difficult because when you grow up in the Mormon church, and anybody who did will relate to this, it is very much providing you frameworks for decisions on everything. From what you should drink, don't drink coffee, don't drink tea, don't do too many meats. You should have funeral potatoes because they have those at literally any Sunday dinner that you have. If you or Jello is also very common, just culturally. And these things become very. Or some of those were jokes, but these things become very normal. Or it's Sunday, you go to church, you do these things, you pay your tithing, you follow these obligations, you don't do listen to this type of music. That became so normal. I didn't even think twice about it. That why would I ever listen to rap, or why would I ever say a curse word, because that would lead me down this dark, treacherous path. And then you get older and you realize, actually, not all that's true. And that was really difficult for me to come to terms with for many years. Here's how I was able to reconcile it. I believe that when we are a kid, 2 years old, you're learning to walk. Let's say you fall down. You could have a parent who says, "Oh, are you all right, Jimmy? Well, let's get up and let's keep going." You could have another parent who says, "Jimmy, oh my gosh, are you okay?" And that induces the kid to have like, "Oh no, should I cry?" They start crying. They get consoled by their parent, and it teaches one parent was taught their kid, "Oh, I fell, I'll get back up and I'll keep going," and the other one was taught, "Oh, if I do get hurt and I cry, I get attention." And those two behaviors are small. But what if this happens every single day, your whole life, in different ways? And you learn all these behaviors, and you have two people who are identical, who, because of how they were raised, they have all these preconceived beliefs about what they should or should not do. What happens when you get to 20 years old and everything should just goes out the window? That is exactly what happened to me. And I realized I was shoulding all over myself. Oh, funny. Not a swear word. Shoulding, as in, I was thinking I was supposed to do something. I was obligated to do it. But when I actually thought about why, it didn't make sense. Oh, well, I thought I was supposed to do this because I was told this was the right thing to do by a parent or by a uncle or by somebody religiously who was a leader at some point or church leaders. And when I actually thought about it, I realized I don't should or should not do this. This is their view on something, and I can take it, evaluate it, and act differently if I feel like it and I have data to back it up, and that's totally okay. That doesn't make me a bad person, which is what the church teaches you to believe. So I went through this whole process of trying to deconstruct all these little things. Oh my gosh, when I was 8, I was told I should get baptized because that gives me the gift of the Holy Ghost to be with me, and that gives me guidance. And this guidance is going to manifest itself in these ways. And why did I think it manifests itself in those ways? Because that's what people told me it did. So I thought, well, this feeling must be this because uncle, person, XYZ, I'm not going to dox people, say names here, but that's what they told me it means, so I'm going to take that as fact. And then you get older and you realize, well, hey, I had a similar experience in a totally different situation. Is this also this religion, this spirit, or is this something else? Is this me taking life experiences I've had and applying it from past situations to today? What did I find as the solution for when I was going through these hard religious problems? Well, the simple solution that I realized is it was easier to go from a completely blank slate than trying to redo and redefine every little thing that I went through growing up. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say I fell, and I think to myself, my natural reaction is, I should get up and keep going. Somebody else thinks, oh, I should cry because that's what I was taught when I was younger, even if it's subconscious. What if you took all of that and you just wiped it completely clean? And you decided from this day forward, I am going to approach this in the way that I want to. When I fall, the way that I want to be as an individual is I want to be the person who says, oh, I fell. I'm going to learn from that to not trip over my feet next time so I can keep going faster. I'm going to be positive about it. I'm going to share that positivity with others, and I'm going to keep going. And what if, instead of all of the things that happened in the past, whether good, bad, traumatic, not traumatic, you decided, I wanted to be this way. I am this person, so I'm going to do this, and that's how you move forward. And that's what I learned was the most valuable thing for me, was to look at it as, let me make a blank slate of what really matters to me. Who do I want to be? What is the person, the values that I want to stand for, regardless of what I was taught or believed or thought I should be doing? And I just took it and ran with it. And that became the core way that I evaluate who I am now. And that was really hard to do. It took me years, and even still, I'm still in the process of doing it. But I have never been happier than the moments now when something happens and I get to decide how I react, what I do to make a difference today. Who is the person I'm going to be? And then I be that person. Because when I face a hard challenge at work, I was taught because I saw how my father reacted, I should get angry or upset. But hey, I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person who's understanding and empathetic, but also smart and caring. And isn't a pushover, but is kind. So this person gets angry. Well, how do I want to react? I want to react in this way, and it doesn't matter what else I think. I can be that person because I can have a blank slate, and I can choose from this day and every day forward that when this person gets angry at me and yells at me at work, I can stay calm and collected, understand and listen to them and empathize, and then we can work towards a solution amicably and come out far above how if I reacted negatively, how I was thought I was supposed to react from what I saw growing up. It's very hard to go through unlearning things, especially religion where it defines what is supposed to happen, what am I doing most, how do I make decisions, what do I do when I die, these huge philosophical questions that, to be honest, I just don't have answers for because I don't think anybody knows for sure what some of those big life questions are. But what I do know for sure is that you are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. Invictus, great poem. You should read it. I know that if you do that, that if you look for who you truly want to be as an individual, you can embody and become that person. Now, this ended up being a lot more emotional and a lot less business oriented, but business is life. It's not all about business, it's about who you become as a person, because at the end of the day, you can accumulate as many casino chips as you want. But at the end of the day, they're all going to be pushed back into the middle, because one day the Grim Reaper is going to tap on your shoulder and say, hey, it's your time to exit the casino. You push your chips into the middle. You can try to choose, they go to player A, B, C, and not to these other players. But even still, it's going to happen. And so the only things you know for sure that you can take with you are the people who are on the earth when you pass, who are going to care about you, what you stood for, and hopefully, whatever happens next, you know that you lived your absolute best while you were here. Hopefully, they didn't get too sad. And hopefully, it was hopeful because I'm very hopeful and positive about the direction that I'm going in life. And I certainly want you to be that too.